Hi. In the last couple of lessons, we learned about event listeners. We used the click event listener and we used the key up event listener. But let's actually do something fun because up until now, we've just changed a little HTML and a little inner text. And that's, it's okay because it makes our pages dynamic, but it's not as fun or as visually appealing as I think it could be. So let's go ahead in this lesson and create a new event listener that's going to change the page's base text color and the background color. So we need some HTML in here. So let's do H1, hello world. No, let's not do hello world. We are way beyond hello world. Let's do changing CSS with event listeners. And now we need an input field. So let's create a new div with an input, just a regular text. And I'm going to style this so it has some sort of styling in it. Let's do padding 30 pixels and also font size 30 pixels. Let's make it big. And we need a label in here. Background color, and let's go ahead and duplicate this. Call this one text color, same thing, and then let's add a class in both of these. Class is equal to JS, something or other. And I just call it JS just so that I know it's just for JavaScript. JavaScript BG color, and let's do JavaScript text color. And if we look at our page, it's going to be pretty ugly. Yeah, it's pretty gross. But you know what? It is what it is. So the idea is that we can type in here, just like that, and it's going to change the background color of our page and change the font color of our page. So we need to create two event listeners for this. Let's grab the first event listener for background color. So var BG color is equal to document.query selector. Good enough. And let's also grab the JS text color. JS text color, and we'll call this one text color. Now we need to add our event listener. So let's do BG color.add event listener. Key up because we're typing in a text field. We're going to pass it a callback function that automatically takes a parameter called event. And then let's just console log this for now. Console.log event.target.value, whatever that's going to be. And we're going to go ahead and duplicate this whole thing. So copy, pasta, and text color is going to do the exact same thing. Let's say BG color in this console log, and let's do text color in this console log. Refresh. BG color, we can see that in there. And then text color, we can see that in there. Chlor, as I named it. So now we want to basically change the page's text color and the page's background color. We haven't learned how to do this in JavaScript yet, so this is going to be pretty fun. For this, let's go ahead and grab the entire document body. And then we're going to change the styling of the body, the background color. So let's do var body is equal to document.query selector. And let's just grab the body. And then we can do body.style.background color is equal to event.target.value. And so all we did here was said, hey, let's grab the entire body. That's the body element that comes from right there. And then the styling on it. So we're seeing this dot notation a lot more often now. This styling is going to have a background color. Technically, it's background dash color, but in JavaScript, you cannot use a dash in a property or variable name. So what we do is we camel case it. So anytime you see a dash in a CSS declaration, not dash C, it is just uppercase C. Or if it was a background image, it would not be background image, it would be background capital I image, camel casing. So let's change the background color. And let's see if this works. Background color, red. Haha, look at that. Background color, blue. Background color, let's do a hex color, black. That's pretty neat. That's starting to work. Okay, let's do the same thing with our text color. Now we can get more efficient with this because on every key up, we are querying the page for the body element. Now, luckily there's only ever one, so it's easy to find. But if you type the word red, R-E-D, it's going to execute this 3 times. And as your page gets bigger and bigger, that gets slower and slower. And so let's just move this up into the global scope, and we don't have to worry about querying it more than once, because it will always be available to us. And in our text color, we can make use of that by pasting it down here. And I pasted the wrong one, so you saw nothing. And so here we're just saying the body style, not the background color, just the regular font color is going to be whatever this event target value is going to be for the text color for this node. Let's go ahead, refresh, text color, let's say white. Yeah, it looks like it all disappeared. What if I select it all? Yeah, it's still there. Background color is going to be red or blue or green. That is so hard to see. Or black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. And so that's how we go about changing CSS with event listeners. Now, at any point in time, you could even change a CSS while your page is loading initially. So if we wanted to, let's go ahead and change the BG color using JavaScript. So BG color.style, and let's do background color is equal to red. So as the page loads, it's going to be red. And haha, I actually did that wrong because I selected BG color. I got ahead of myself. I got a little too excited there. So what I'm going to do is just undo that. And let's go down. And instead of BG color, let's do body. There we go. That looks better. We could also change the default color to, let's do black, which it probably was already. So let's do white. There we go. And this goes with any CSS you can find. So for example, BG color, let's say we wanted to add some rounding. Let's do BG color dot style, that border radius is going to be, let's give it a 10 pixel border radius. Look at that. Those are now rounded a little bit. Let's give it a border. Let's give it a border of 3 pixels dotted black. Hey, look at that. I mean, this is pretty ugly. Don't get me wrong. I would never want to actually deploy this in real life, but now we're actually changing CSS with JavaScript. We're not writing any real CSS. I mean, this is CSS, I guess, but we're not writing any actual styles. We're letting JavaScript do all of it. And as we type in here, it's going to change for us, which is pretty cool. Now we could take this one step further and we could say, hey, maybe background colors can only be a certain color. So let's go ahead and add this as a variable so we don't have to type event.target.value all the time. And let's do an if statement. Better yet, let's do a switch statement. We haven't seen this too much yet. So switch the color, we actually need to assign that. Let's do case is equal to blue, and we could do that. In fact, we could actually even stack these together. So this is kind of interesting. Blue, red, white, and then default is always going to be, we need a break in here, break. The default color is always going to be white. And syntax error, that was my fault. I just wanted to write that out. You could tell that was syntax error because it was all turning gray. So basically this is saying, hey, grab every color or whatever color this is currently and says, if it is red, white, or blue, then change the background color to red, white, or blue. Otherwise, always change it to white. Just keep white as the default. And so now we're actually limiting user input. So if I type black, it just goes to white as default. But if I type red, it's gonna work. Blue works. White obviously works. In fact, we don't want white. We want this to be yellow because white is already up there, so that doesn't make sense to have. White works. And if I type anything in here, it just defaults to yellow. And so there you go. That is a pretty good example of how to use an event listener, how to use query selectors, changing CSS styling. We even use a callback function. We used a switch statement. We used 2 event listeners, and we changed default styling when the page loaded. So we've actually accomplished a lot in this video. So what I would like you to do is just get some hands-on experience with basically everything I've written in this video. Go ahead, create some query selectors, try to change the styling. Then create an input and try to add an event listener with a key up and a callback function, and maybe It doesn't have to have a switch statement. That might be a little bit complicated for what we're currently using. But you could say body.style.color is whatever that color is that you're typing into the input field. Go ahead, give that a shot, tinker around with it. Again, you're not going to be able to break anything, so do your best and honestly just have some fun with it. I always like to tinker around, and I like to try to break things and sort of figure out where the edge is of every sort of topic that I learn. Like, how far can I push something exactly? And that gives me a lot of hands-on experience. I really like doing that. Otherwise, if you're feeling pretty confident with this, I think we should move on to our next mini project.